Why do bad things happen to good people? I mean, we're all good people here, so why do bad things sometimes happen to us? Why do some people who don't smoke, who eat healthy, exercise, and do all the right things still get cancer or heart disease or, God forbid, a horrible neurologic disorder? Does it make any sense? Is there bad luck at work? Hi, I'm Rich Feldenberg. I'm a pediatric nephrologist, and I create videos about science and medicine. Today we are going to explore the role of bad luck in our lives, or at least in regard to becoming ill with a serious medical condition. Is there such a thing as luck? Can bad luck be a diagnosis? We're going to answer that question today, so stay tuned. As a pediatric nephrologist, I care for children that often have very serious kidney diseases that may sometimes result in kidney failure or the need for chronic dialysis or a kidney transplant. I mean, we're talking about kids here. As you might imagine, this can be a devastating blow to a family, and it is quite common and natural for the parents of my patients to ask why their child got their particular disease. Although we're continually learning more about the genetics and molecular basis for diseases like cancer or kidney disease, the fact is most of the time we have no good explanation for why one particular individual out of thousands got a disease. It is usually not very satisfying for either the parent or the physician to simply say, "I don't know," although that is often the honest answer. When I was in my nephrology fellowship training at Yale, many years ago now, I recall one of my professors being questioned by the parent of our patient we were taking care of in the hospital. They asked a simple sounding question: why their child got this very serious kidney disease known as FSGS. We knew there was a good chance our little patient, despite all the best that modern medicine could offer, was on the unfortunate path towards requiring a kidney transplant. I listened carefully to how my nephrology mentor would answer this heartfelt question from a tearful, frightened parent who would do anything in the world to help their child be healthy again. I knew that we could explain in great detail the pathophysiology, molecular biology, and genetics of this disorder, but my professor didn't go into any of that. Those things explain the what, but not the why. Why was this happening to my child? My professor's response was, "Damn bad luck." While that particular family seemed to accept that assessment, I've witnessed other physicians since then use that same line with less pleasant results, even to the point of a parent becoming extremely offended by talk of bad luck. It was almost like the diagnosis of bad luck was the same as being told that someone had placed a voodoo spell on them or the heavens were punishing them. Today, more than 20 years later, I still get asked that question routinely, and most often I simply state that we just really don't understand why some people get a particular disease and most people don't, and move on from there to what we do know about the condition. I found this to usually be effective in moving the conversation forward, but doesn't luck have something to do with it? In 2015, the mainstream media reported findings from an article published in the prestigious journal Science, which investigated the causes of human cancer. This would have been all well and good, except that it then resulted in the appearance of sensational news headlines across many of the top news outlets, featuring the shocking conclusion that approximately 2/3 of cancer in adults is due to sheer bad luck. Yes, you heard right. Bad luck is apparently the main cause of cancer. The title of the original research paper doesn't actually mention bad luck at all. And the Science article is actually just demonstrating a correlation between tissues that undergo high numbers of stem cell divisions with those tissues that have a high incidence of developing cancer. There is a direct correlation showing that as the number of cell divisions increase in a given tissue type, the development of cancer also increases, and tissues that undergo low levels of stem cell divisions have a low chance of developing tumors. Yeah, that seems sort of obvious, and it's not terribly surprising given that clinical medicine has known for decades that tissues with rapid cell turnover are tissues where cancer is more likely to crop up, such as bone marrow, intestinal epithelium, and breast tissue, just to name a few. Here's the title of the original research article: Cancer Etiology. Variation in cancer risk among tissues can be explained by the number of stem cell divisions. And it was published in the January 2nd, 2015 edition of Science. In the popular media, the lead author, a prominent cancer researcher from Johns Hopkins University, was quoted as saying, "All cancers are caused by a combination of bad luck, the environment, and heredity." And we've created a model that may help quantify how much of these three factors contribute to cancer development. Okay, a nice soundbite to be sure, but attention immediately focused on the bad luck part of the explanation, as most people already assume that environment and heredity have something to do with it. This became the essence of the mainstream news headlines. For example, CNN reported bad luck can cause cancer, and Fox News reported that study concludes that many cancers are caused by bad luck in cell division. So what does bad luck have to do with all of this? Are cancer researchers a superstitious lot? Does invoking bad luck have any real explanatory or predictive power? And does doing so benefit the patient or clinician in any way? My initial reaction to these headlines was that by describing a phenomenon as lucky or unlucky, one seems to be crediting some kind of conspiring supernatural force out in the universe, intent on doing harm to the unlucky and protecting the favored lucky one. It's probably more likely, I believe, that the author of the study chose to use this sort of language for its shock value to gain media attention. The language used is almost certainly why the media picked up on this story, bringing it to front page status. If the authors had stuck with wording such as cancer risk is related to stem cell divisions, then it is unlikely that it would have drawn nearly the amount of media attention that was obtained by the more provocative bad luck statement. Well, I think we all have a sense of being lucky or unlucky in certain given situations. So what about that? Well, philosophy can help us out here. The philosophy of luck can be reasoned about in several ways, and it's this ambiguity that has the potential to create some problems and unnecessary confusion. Luck can be thought about in one of two major categories, as prescriptive or descriptive. It is this prescriptive definition that I worry many people will incorrectly assume to be the meaning when sickness or disease is attributed to bad luck. Bad luck in the prescriptive sense is defined as a deterministic concept that there are forces, gods, spirits, energies, karma, that make certain events occur. This is like when people think that an occurrence is just too improbable to have happened by chance alone. But what the scientists of the cancer article were actually referring to as bad luck is in the descriptive sense. The unpredictable random gene mutations that occur more frequently in tissues where stem cells divide more rapidly. This appears synonymous with bad luck because it seems to defy a satisfying explanation. But it's not bad luck in the magical prescriptive sense. The universe is not conspiring against the person who gets cancer any more than it's protecting the person living a long cancer-free life. The prescriptive definition of luck also hints at the idea that your luck can't be changed until something happens to change it. You have bad luck after all, so why should you expect the future to hold any different sort of fortune for you? If you got cancer because of bad luck, well, then you're probably not going to be very lucky in the treatment for your cancer or the way you handle chemotherapy, or if your wife is going to support you through all this challenging time, and so on. Well, let's look at what the original article is really telling us. Why are more frequently dividing stem cells more likely to turn into cancer cells? When a cell divides through the process of mitosis, the complete set of nuclear DNA is copied so that each new daughter cell can begin its life with the same DNA as the parent cell. The cellular machinery to copy DNA is sophisticated, and there are both proofreading and repair methods to ensure high fidelity of the DNA copy. However, if a mistake is made in the copy process that escapes the proofreading and repair mechanisms, then it remains as a new mutation. These mutations are going to happen because you're a working biological machine that acquires wear and tear as you go about the business of living. Despite billions of years of evolution to minimize such mistakes, they have to happen at a certain rate because the proofreading and repair processes simply aren't perfect. And cells have to divide a lot to get you from a fertilized egg to a full-grown human being. Some cells continue to divide even after maturity to maintain the cell line. Cells that replicate more often would be expected to accumulate these types of replication errors more, and occasionally this will escape detection by the proofreading part of the process. Mistakes just happen. Poor DNA polymerase is held up to an unrealistically high standard. So is bad luck really a diagnosis? It is, but only if it is clear that this is being used as shorthand for random, unpredictable events and not for evil forces intent on doing harm. The prescriptive sense of the term implies some sort of universal evil in the case of bad luck, or empathy in the case of good luck. There's no objective evidence that this is the case. If an unusual event happens to us or a loved one, we have the need to try to explain that unlikely occurrence through some narrative. not realizing that many rare events are happening all the time just because the total number of events happening is so incredibly astronomical. Bad luck, the kind of bad luck that has any real meaning, is the product of random chance, just the statistical roll of the dice. And that's what this paper in Science is really showing. The universe is not trying to help us succeed, but neither is it trying to wipe us out. It is absolutely indifferent to us being here. Even our DNA polymerase that replicates and proofreads our DNA is not trying to help us. DNA polymerase has simply evolved to be only as effective as necessary to propagate the genes for making more DNA polymerase. It has no reason to be more efficient than that, but it can't be less efficient either, or else it won't survive into the coming generations. We are the ones that care what happens to each other. By taking luck out of the equation, we can search for the real explanations for how things work and the events that transpire in our lives. Science is the tool to do so, and so far has been an invaluable tool for finding true patterns in events that once seemed random. We still have a lot more to learn, but bad luck should never be the full diagnosis. Just a shorthand notation for when we don't have enough information to give a satisfactory explanation. Even then, it should only be used carefully so not to misguide the patient or ourselves. It's okay to admit that we don't know why, but reassure each other that we will keep looking for answers. And in the meantime, we'll provide the best care using the available science-based evidence. Well, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and we'll see you back here next time. Thanks, guys.